Hello everyone and welcome to the new session of the biology lecture series. So today we'll be solving the practice problems that are related to the chapter nutrition. So this chapter is from the class 10 science book. So today we will be discussing the objective type questions. So we have already discussed some of the questions in the previous lecture and today we'll be discussing the rest of the questions. So let's start with the first question. So the first question is, in amoeba, the digestion of food is, okay, options are, is it extracellular? Means it takes outside the body. So extracellular means outside the body. Or it is intracellular. Intracellular means within the body. Okay. Here the food is first internalized and then the digestion takes place inside the body. Intercellular. Intercellular means between the cells. Okay. And the last option is none of the above. So we have already discussed in amoeba, the mode of nutrition is holozoic. Holozoic also we have all discussed. What is holozoic mode of nutrition? Here, various types of food are consumed. Alright, here what happens? Various types of food material are consumed by the organism. Consumed by the organism, and then this food is, okay, and then what happens to this food? And then the food is digested and it is assimilated. Okay, so amoeba shows the holozoic mode of nutrition. Humans also, they also show holozoic mode of nutrition. So what happens in amoeba? It attains the food with the help of, or the process is known as phagocytosis. So in phagocytosis, what happens? There is the formation of pseudopodia first. Okay, so with the help of the pseudopodia, the amoeba engulfs the food or the cell. It engulfs the food. Okay, means the food is internalized. It is now present within the cell. And you also know amoeba is single cellular, means it is unicellular. It consists of only one cell, and the one cell is performing all the vital functions that are required for the survival. Now, after engulfing the food is stored in the food vacuole. Okay, food is stored in a vacuole known as the food vacuole. Now, what happens? How digestion takes place? Now, the enzymes, they enter into the food vacuole. Okay, so if this is the amoeba here, this is the food vacuole. The enzymes from the cytoplasm, they enter into the food vacuole. So this is the food vacuole. This is the amoeba. Okay, here the enzymes from the cytoplasm, they enter into the food vacuole and they digest the food. And then the food is assimilated and the waste food material is thrown out. Then what happens? After the food is stored in the food vacuole, digestion takes place with the help of the enzyme. Okay, and the undigested food is thrown out. Okay. Undigested food is thrown out of the body. Clear? So, what should be the answer here? Option B, intracellular. Okay, so food or the digestion takes place within the cell, which is known as intracellular. And the process I have already explained you. Next question is, through mastication of the food is thorough mastication of the food is essential because the mastication, it is the another name for chewing only. So chewing is done with the help of teeth. So if you talk about the humans, we have 4 kind of teeth. First one is the incisors. Then we have the canines. Then we have the premolars and molars. Now, incisors, they are involved in the cutting of the food material. So they help in the cutting of the food materials. Canines, they help in the tearing of the food material. And both premolars and molars, they help in what? Grinding of the food material. So chewing is done with the help of the teeth, and this is known as the mechanical process. So this is the mechanical. Okay, this is not chemical. Chemicals involve the enzymes. So this is the mechanical process. Okay, clear? So here are the options. Mastication of the food food makes teeth stronger. It makes the process of swallowing the food easier. By this process, bigger pieces of food are broken down into the smaller pieces. And fourth option is bigger pieces of food are broken down into smaller pieces and saliva is properly mixed with it. So what should be the answer here? Option number B, it makes the process of the swallowing the food easier. Okay, so what happens when we chew the food? The food is broken down into the smaller particles. Okay, and the food is also mixed with the saliva. Okay, and the food which is mixed with saliva is known as the bolus. Okay, so now the food is broken down into the smaller pieces and it is mixed with saliva, and this is known as bolus. And this helps in the the process of swallowing the food easier. So mastication helps us to swallow the food in an easy way. Okay. Next question is, the wave of contractions that pushes the food through the alimentary canal is called. Here they're asking the wave of contractions. All right, that pushes the food through the alimentary canal. So we know what are the parts of the alimentary canal. First we have the mouth. So food enters through the mouth. Then it enters into the buccal cavity. Buccal cavity, we've already seen, consists of 3 components: salivary glands, tongue, and teeth. After the buccal cavity, the food passes through the esophagus and then it enters into the stomach. So in esophagus also, because of these waves of contraction, there are some waves of contraction known as peristaltic movement. So because of this, the food is transferred to the stomach, and from the stomach, food reaches the small intestine, and then in the end, the food reaches into the large intestine, and finally, the food is thrown out of the body through anus. Alright, this is clear. So here there is a movement of food, and the movement of the food is because of this wave of contraction, and you have to name what is the wave of contraction called. So these are the options: peritoneum, peristalsis, cyclosis, and polarization. So what is peritoneum? Peritoneum is nothing but it is a serous membrane that lines the abdominal cavity. Okay, it is a membrane that lines the abdominal cavity. Clear? Then peristalsis, this I've already discussed you. Because of this, there is the movement of the food, or the food is pushed through the alimentary canal. What is cyclosis? Cyclosis is nothing but it is the cytoplasmic streaming. Okay. Because of the cytoplasmic streaming, there is movement of the organelles. And what is polarization? Polarization help in the, okay, it helps in the correct, okay, cell shape change. Okay, so it helps in the cell shape, you can say, or in maintaining the correct cell shape change. All right, so what should be the answer here? Peristalsis. Option number B is the correct answer here. Now, what is peristalsis? Peristalsis is a sequence of involuntary. You have to remember, it is involuntary muscle contraction which are responsible for propelling the food through various segments of the digestive tract. Now, this process initiates in the esophagus upon swallowing a bolus of the food. Okay, bolus I've already told you. It is a mixture of the food which is broken down with the saliva, that is known as the bolus. And this bolus moves with the help of this involuntary muscle contraction which is known as peristalsis. Okay, this is clear. Now let's move on to the next question. In amoeba, the absorption of the digested nutrients occur in. Alright, options are contractile vacuole, option B is plasma membrane, option C is cytoplasm, and option D is pseudopodia. So contractile vacuole, okay, first it helps in the digestion. It helps in the osmoregulation first. Okay, so what is the function of the contractile vacuole? It helps in the osmoregulation and it also helps in the excretion. Alright, and the food is also absorbed here. Plasma membrane, so this is the membrane present, okay, upon the cytoplasm. Okay, so it has no role in the absorption of the nutrients. Alright, cytoplasm, again, it is just a fluid and it also doesn't play any role in the absorption of the nutrients. Pseudopodia are the extension of the plasma membrane present in the amoeba. So with the help of the pseudopodia, the amoeba captures the food. It captures the food or the cell, and it is also not involved in the absorption of the digestive nutrients. So what should be the answer here? Contractile vacuole is the answer here. Okay, and what is contractile vacuole? Contractile vacuole found in the amoeba. They play a role in the both excretion and osmoregulation. Okay, this is clear. Now let's move on to the next question. Now the coiled and well-developed alimentary canal was first developed in. So the options are first protozoans, then mammals, arthropods, or poriferans. So protozoans, okay, mammals, arthropods, and porifera. So protozoans, they are very simple organisms. They are primitive. Example is Plasmodium. So Plasmodium is a kind of a protozoan. Okay, they are very primitive. Example is Plasmodium, and Plasmodium is the causal agent of malaria. Okay, in this the so the members of the protozoan, they doesn't contain the well-developed alimentary canal. Mammals, okay, they have the complex alimentary canal, which is very well developed. But the question is, coiled and well-developed alimentary canal was first developed in. Okay, option C is arthropod, which consists of all the insects. Okay, here the alimentary canal was very well developed. Okay, if we talk about the poriferans, okay, why they are known as poriferans? Because they have the, or they are the pore bearing animals. They are the pore bearing animals. So, for example, sponges. So these sponges have some holes present on their surface, and because of these, they are known as poriferans. So what should be the answer? Here the mammals, they have highly developed, okay, they have complex and highly developed alimentary canal. And we have already discussed what are the parts of the alimentary canal. We have the mouth, then we have the buccal cavity, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine in anus. So what should be the answer here? Answer number C is the correct answer. Arthropods. They were the first organism in which coiled alimentary canal developed. Clear? Now next question is digestion of starch starts from, okay, we have already discussed what happens in the buccal cavity. If we talk about the buccal cavity consists of three components. First is the salivary glands. Then second one is the teeth. And the third one is the tongue. Okay. Now, salivary glands, they secrete what? They secrete the saliva. And this saliva consists of the enzyme known as salivary amylase. And this salivary amylase helps in the digestion of the carbohydrate or helps in the digestion of starch, which is known as the which is a type of a carbohydrate. So you can say the buccal cavity is a part of what? It is a part of the mouth. Okay, let's have a look at the options: stomach, intestine, esophagus, and mouth. Okay, so what should be the answer here? Mouth. Answer number D. Option number D is the correct answer. In esophagus, there is no digestion. Intestine, what happens? In the small intestine, and that too in the ileum. Okay, that too in the ileum, complete digestion takes place. But the digestion starts in the mouth. Here, the complete digestion takes place. Stomach also, you can say partial digestion. And this semi-digested food which is formed is known as chyme. Alright, in the stomach, digestion of what takes place? Digestion of proteins and little bits of fats also. Digestion of fats also takes place. Okay, in small intestine, what happens? Digestion of carbohydrates takes place, as well as proteins, as well as fats, or you can say lipids. In the mouth, digestion of carbohydrate, or you can say starch, takes place. So this is the first site of digestion. Now, option number D is correct. Mouth. Okay, so the digestion takes place in the mouth, or digestion of starch takes place in the mouth. The next question is the path taken by the food material after ingestion is represented by, let's have a look at the options: mouth, pharynx, esophagus and stomach, mouth, pharynx, esophagus and small intestine. So they have skipped stomach here. Next option is mouth, esophagus, stomach and pharynx. So this is absolutely not correct. And then esophagus, mouth, pharynx and stomach. This is not correct. So here first, to answer this question, we should know the parts of the alimentary canal. Okay. So first, the digestion starts in the mouth. Then mouth, okay, leads into buccal cavity. And then, okay, or you can say mouth opens into buccal cavity. Then after that, you have the pharynx. Okay, pharynx we have already discussed. It has dual role. It functions as a respiratory. It is a part of the respiratory system also, as well as the digestive system also. So after pharynx, the food reaches the esophagus. So, or we can say through pharynx, the food reaches the esophagus, and then with the help of the peristaltic movement, food from the esophagus enters into the stomach. From the stomach, it enters into the small intestine. And from small intestine, the food enters into the large intestine. And from the large intestine, the food is thrown out of the body through anus. Okay. So first we have the mouth. Mouth opens into the buccal cavity, then pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, and large intestine. So now you can answer this question. What should be the answer here? Mouth, then pharynx, then esophagus, and then stomach. So this is the correct sequence of the passage of the food material. Alright, clear? The next question is, the teeth involved in cutting of the food material are called. So we have already talked about this. There are four kinds of teeth. First, we have the incisors, then canines, then premolars, and then we have the molars. So we have already discussed incisors, they help in the cutting of the food. Canines, they help in the tearing of the food. And molars and premolars, they help in the grinding of the food. Okay. These are the options: canines, incisors, molars and premolars. What should be the answer here? Incisors. So incisors, these are the teeth that are involved in the cutting of the food material. Okay. So here you should also know about the dental formula. Okay, I will give you a brief idea about the dental formula also. Okay, so dental formula is nothing but it is the arrangement of the teeth in the upper and lower jaw. Okay, arrangement of the teeth in upper and the lower jaw. This is known as the dental formula. So if you talk about the kids, the dental formula is 2102 by 2102. Okay, so these are incisors, these are canines, these are premolars, and these ones are molars. Okay, so in total they have 20 teeth. Alright, so this one represents the half upper jaw, this one represents the lower upper jaw. Okay, so this is the half. So you can say upper jaw is divided into two. So this is the half upper jaw, and this one is the lower half lower jaw. Okay. And the dental formula in adult humans, it is 2123 by 2123. These are incisors, canines, premolars and molars. Okay, 2 incisors are present, 1 canine, 2 premolars and 3 molars. And the function we have already seen. Incisors involved in cutting, canines involved in tearing, premolars and molars involved in grinding. Clear? The next question is, ptyalin enzyme is secreted by. So ptyalin, another name for ptyalin is salivary amylase. So this enzyme is involved in the digestion of the carbohydrates, or you can say it is involved in the digestion of the starch, which is a type of carbohydrate. So let's have a look at the options. So ptyalin enzyme is secreted by salivary glands, mouth, esophagus or stomach. So ptyalin is present where? It is present in the saliva. Okay, and saliva is secreted by the salivary gland. So if we talk about humans, I've already told you in the previous session, there are 3 pairs of this salivary glands. Okay, and what are the function of the salivary gland? To secrete the saliva, and the saliva contains the enzyme ptyalin. Mouth, so mouth doesn't secrete any enzyme, okay, but the organs present in the mouth, such as salivary glands, they secrete the enzyme. Esophagus, so esophagus, there is no digestion. Okay, it only acts as a passage for the food material. Here, there is no enzyme present, so there is no digestion. In stomach, stomach produces gastric juice. Okay, but this gastric juice has some different enzyme. Is have pepsin, okay, and some other enzyme. It also has the gastric lipase. All right. So digestion of proteins as well as fat takes place in the stomach. Okay. So here, what should be the answer? Salivary gland. Salivary gland, they secrete the saliva which contains the enzyme ptyalin, known as salivary amylase. Next question is, villi are present on. So villi we have already discussed. Okay. These are villi. This is the structure of the villi. It is a finger-like projection that are present in the small intestine that help in the absorption of the nutrients. And these villi, so this is the structure of the villi. Here we have this finger-like projections and they are 1 cell thick. Because they are 1 cell thick, they can easily absorb the nutrient and they can pass it to the blood. Okay, and they increase the surface area for the absorption. So where they are present? Options are stomach, large intestine, small intestine and mouth. Okay, so now you should be able to answer this question. So option number C should be the correct answer here, small intestine. So these villi are present in the small intestine. So what are the role of the small intestine? First is the digestion of the food materials and another one is the absorption of the nutrients. Okay, so small intestine is the correct answer here. So this was the end of this session. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. We'll meet in the next session.